This is Ultimate General Civil War on Legendary difficulty, playing the Confederates, the Confederate States of America. Legendary mode. And General Legendary, destined to be a division commander. Because he's going to get terrible perks. And the thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the glitch in the game where if you reload right after the game starts, your reinforcements will be larger. So, and a message to my friend Pandakraut, please, in your modification of the game, and I have seen your mod, he has changed this, he's made the units bigger. I think it's a tragedy though. A lot of people play this battle and the Union version, and it just turns them off to the game, and they just, it's too hard. It should be a tutorial battle. It should be very easy and get people into playing. And we've lost a lot of players. I've had people tell me in the comment section that they played the first battle and then they just left. And they came back after they saw some videos. So what I'm doing here is I'm baiting the enemy into attacking me. That's the whole point, is get the enemy to come forward and don't go to the fort, which is pretty easy because it's legendary. And the enemy is hyper aggressive, which is good, and I'm going to take advantage of that every time I can. So this is actually going okay. He's not going to the fort, and that's what I want. Just want to tie these guys up. And, yep, they're tied up, and they're not going to the fort, so that's good. Now here come the reinforcements, and they're larger. Now here I have a 2-to-1 advantage. This guy wanted to get into melee, and anytime you have a 2-to-1 advantage, you're pretty much going to win. So unfortunately we're in the woods, so his casualties are not going to be that great, but we have a 2-to-1, and detached skirmishers count as a unit. So my cav unit just stay on top of him. Now on Legendary, he's going to recover in about 2 decimal seconds and go back to 100% condition and morale, I think. But that's okay. We won that. You don't want to lose a melee, ever. So we hit him, and he took a lot of losses, and that's great. Now he has 1 skirmisher unit standing in the water. I want him to just stand there and take losses. And now my 2 infantry units, and I just walk them up here. I don't need to run. I have plenty of time. We have 3 hours. And yeah, just going to harass these guys and cause them lots of casualties. This is my second campaign that I played. I will admit, my name is Something Compass, and I admit that I played this through Antietam on kernel difficulty. I admit it. Yes, I acknowledge that. I acknowledge my heresy, and yeah, as pathetic as it sounds, I just wanted to get some kind of a feel for the Confederate playthrough. The CSA playthrough, one of the big things that I noticed is that people play the CSA playthrough first, and then they go to the Union campaign, and they play the Union campaign as though it's the Confederate campaign, and that is a complete mistake. And what I did not want to do is play this campaign as though it was the Union campaign. I needed to figure out what kind of weapons and equipment and the difference that the much better infantry makes. And boy, is the infantry much better than the Union campaign. The Union infantry is horrible compared to these terrific troops that you get with the South. And what I'm doing here is I'm just resting the army. I'm just recovering condition and morale and getting ready for the next thing. And, of course, looking for people to beat up on, like this guy right here. I'll just beat up on him a little bit. And I'm hoping the, unfortunately, my infantry and my units got spotted. I wanted him to advance, the infantry to advance into the water. But I'm going to hit him from several different sides, and that's going to be very bad for him. He's going to have a bad day. So yeah, now he's going to get hit in the flank, in the rear, and yeah, this is just... I'm just beating up on this guy. Yeah, I can get a 2-to-1 charge on him. More than 2 units isn't necessary. Everybody else should be giving supporting fire, so I'm trying to get my cav out of there. Yeah, we're just beating up on this guy, and we end up capturing him. When units get hit from multiple directions, they're more likely to surrender. So, yeah. And I'd like to take out that little detached skirmisher because I hate them. So now I'm just letting people rest. The guys who've been resting over there are full of ammo and they have 100% condition. And anyway, I played through Antietam on Colonel, and it was different. It was definitely different. So this is my first time playing on Legendary. I have watched the other people who have played on Legendary, the Trailblazers, Atheist, Brave Rivers, Panda Kraut, History Guy. I mean, everybody who has a series out there on Legendary, but playing it is a lot different than watching it on YouTube. It definitely plays differently, and it's definitely different than playing the Union campaign. So what I did there was I let my units who'd been fighting, I let them go ahead and recover, and now I'm putting out detached skirmishers to take the enemy artillery. I don't want my infantry taking artillery when detached skirmishers can. So my detached skirmishers are going to put a shot on the enemy. Hopefully the enemy will waste his ammo and his time putting shots into my detached skirmishers. And then the infantry will move in. And because they had 100% condition, they can run. And man, can these Confederate troops run. Union infantry could never do this, not these kind of distances. So, yeah. So we're in the fort, we're behind the guy. Now we did burn some condition, and I still have these guys. I should really turn them off run. But unfortunately, at this point I'm rethinking, oh yeah, I have to kill the guns. You know, it's not enough just to drive them out of the fort, you have to kill both batteries. So, yeah, okay, get my cav out of there. And if his infantry wants to get away from... what that infantry should have done was defend the artillery piece. And probably could have won the... You know, I would have lost this tutorial battle and had to have done it again. But as it is, he is somewhere else doing nothing of any importance, while I get to take shots on that isolated artillery unit, and when I kill it, I win the battle. But I can't... Yeah, my detached skirmishers will not charge. So, yeah, I'm having everybody... come on, hit that artillery unit and kill it. I have like 3 units over there now, and they can't seem to kill the tiny little artillery unit. Okay, so gonna have to pull out all the stops. It's not gonna be easy, unfortunately. So someone needs to keep this detached skirmisher busy, need to keep the infantry unit busy. My cav unit can get behind the lines and take a shot on the... yeah, we have to kill the artillery. That's what has to happen. And he's running faster than my infantry. So it's up to the cav. The cav has done yeoman work and killed it. So at the last second, too. So we barely got that. Okay, now in this, this is something I haven't seen anyone else do. Maybe someone has. But first of all, these artillery pieces are in absolutely a useless place. That far away with artillery of that quality is just a colossal waste of time. This artillery has to be on the front line, delivering canister. And the other thing is, I need, you always need something for Union artillery to fire at, and it cannot be artillery. So I'm taking a detached skirmisher and putting him over there where the gunboats can see him, and the gunboats can fire at him instead of my artillery. And that's what I want. And he can stand there and take quite a bit of damage, and that's going to be fine. So yeah, I'm trying to find some cover for him to stand in, and unfortunately I can't find any place. 37% seems to be all I can get. So maybe I don't know. I don't know where would be better. I couldn't find any place better. But the important thing is, and I put him on hold, and I want him to continue to face toward the gunboats. I don't want him to take flanking fire. I need to put these artillery units on hold, which I just did, so they continue to face the right direction. So yeah, hopefully the gunboats will keep firing at the detached skirmisher, and all will be good. So when he gets down to, I don't know, 30 or 40, I'll merge him back into his parent unit and detach him again. So yeah, he's hitting the detached skirmisher and not my artillery, which is exactly what I want. Okay, the artillery can't do any real damage at that distance, but what they can do is degrade the enemy condition and morale and reduce the chance that the enemy charges. I need to make sure that the enemy doesn't charge. And here's the big thing. If the enemy charges 1 unit at a time, I can still win that. But if he charges 2 units at a time, I'm going to lose. You cannot win if he charges 2 units at a time into one of your units. That's the whole thing. You can win a one-on-one because you can always take detached skirmishers, and you'll notice I have a detached skirmisher right here. If he gets into melee, I'm going to throw that detached skirmisher into the melee. I'm going to have a 2-to-1 advantage. I'm also going to have the fortification advantage. At the very least, I'm going to have canister fire. Any one of those. Notice how I just charged. So he's in melee. I'm going to win both of those handily. We've got canister and we've got 2-on-1. That's an easy win. Those units are going to be beaten. I have the commander right there. 2 wins. Absolute wins. Victories. Now, the only thing I'm hoping for is don't lose an officer. That's the hope. Don't lose an officer. So now I need my artillery to target some other unit. My cav, I just want them to go pick up some supply wagons. So one of my units is out of supply, or out of condition, one of my reinforcements. And yeah, notice how I'm targeting the next guy. Shift the guns, always shift fire to the next target when somebody's flashing white. Hit the unit that's fresh. So he's coming in for the charge. I'm getting my unit ready to countercharge if necessary, but he's already flashing white. So yeah, the unit that came in exhausted, I'm going to have him rest and recover some condition. There's no reason to bring him into the battle at all with 0 condition. Okay, here's another guy charging from halfway across the map. Need to get ready to receive this guy. Shift fire. Everybody needs to shift fire. Commander's right there giving the morale buff, which is crucial. That morale buff is absolutely crucial. Come on, artillery, fire some canister. Yeah, my poor detached skirmisher's down to 76. Yes, and there he goes. We win. Now I need that guy to fall back, fall back, fall back. So I detach skirmishers so he gets out of melee. Get those detached skirmishers out of there. Now, unfortunately, he's exhausted. That is not good. He's not going to be much use to me if he's completely exhausted. So we have 2 units coming in. Those irritating, very irritating detached skirmishers. Probably going to be a pain in the neck. Hit him with canister. Hopefully that drops his charge meter down. So things have stabilized a little bit. And other than my one infantry being completely exhausted, um, things are going pretty well. Two of his units seem to be charging toward my infantry unit that's not inside the fort. That's good. I want him to waste his time and his condition charging something other than the fort and let the fort alone. Unfortunately, one of them is now turned off and is headed toward the fort. So I now shift fire. He's pretty close. Hopefully he takes some canister. Everybody fire on that guy. Good. He's pulling up and he's stopping. The guy on the flank, his job is just to confuse the AI. Put shots into his units as he approaches the fort so he doesn't charge. So it's very unlikely that those two units there will charge. And here comes another unit that seems pretty fresh, and he pulled right up. He stopped. So I can get on the flank of this guy. That's all to the good. And have, my units have 42s, I'm pretty sure. So the closer they get, the more damage they're going to get. So if I can get on the flank of the enemy at close range, that's good. Okay, this guy is now coming in for the charge. My line is a little weak right now. So I'm a little concerned. Yeah, he's going to make it into melee. Come on, artillery, fire some canister. Wait, I don't know what my artillery is doing. It is moving instead of firing. And there we got the canister off. And that Union unit is just holding on. I mean, he's not breaking, and there's another one coming behind him. So this looks like this could be the crucial moment of the battlefield. We get 2-on-1, and he immediately breaks. But man, my unit is exhausted. That is not good. So the two units on the flank are doing a good job of keeping him busy. I hit fall back on the small unit that's 346. That is, I let him fall back a little bit too far. Okay, he has another unit coming in. Shift fire. My artillery shifts fire. Yeah, my unit is so exhausted it can barely move, so I detached some skirmishers hoping to put them into the battle. They might move faster than the infantry unit. He is completely exhausted. This is actually going fairly well. The more these two infantry units on the flank can tie up the enemy and distract him, that's good. The more shots of canister I can fire, that's good. One of my infantry units is exhausted, that's not good. And my cav unit that has done terrific work so far this battle, his job is actually to distract the enemy infantry and hopefully get them to chase after him. But he took some artillery fire, and I don't want the guy to shatter. And finally, the captured supply wagon gets up. We're not going to run out of supply. Okay, this is good. The enemy is just standing in place, and his units are looking a little fragile. And there's an hour to go. And the poor detached skirmisher is down to a very tiny number, but he's absorbing those ironclad shots like a champ. So I'm going to move the artillery up a little bit closer. And he's going to charge. He's going to charge with that little tiny infantry unit. And that guy's going to shatter. He's down to 200 and something. He's not going to survive. He's going to get into melee. 2-on-1, and he's going to die. Yeah, I was able to hit charge. I got the charge bonus with my backup unit, and yeah. That guy's just getting crushed. He's down to 211. Okay, but he's going to charge over here with 2 tiny units, and he does that. There seems to be some kind of a thing where it's getting toward the end of the battle. Everybody charge, even though it's really stupid. That tiny skirmisher unit should not even be thinking about charging. Okay, Kemper is one of my core units. Now, I've already determined I have a strategy for getting through. My strategy is I want to build an army for Shiloh. And the army for Shiloh will be 20 units. And I want every unit to be 1,000 men or more. And however many artillery I can build for free. Because this is not an artillery army. This, like the Union, it's mostly infantry. And so I want to build an infantry maneuver force. Use fire and maneuver. Not just slug it out with the enemy, but fire and maneuver. So I don't want to lose Kemper. I don't want to lose my officers that go to my first camp. So I had to have him on the front line, but now I just want to preserve him and get as many officers out. Actually, if the officers get wounded, that's not a big deal. I don't want them to get killed. And my goal is to create as many colonels as possible. And as you'll see, the system I have for building colonels works pretty well. And man, I pull out all the stops. I mean, every method that I know for increasing the officer pool, I do it. So, yeah, by the time we get to Shiloh, every unit has 1 star, and I have 20 units. Go ahead and just tell you. And every infantry unit is over. I have 16 infantry units. They're all over 1,000 men. So I wanted to get everybody, all the men into the battle, and that was my plan. So finally, this guy who did great work over here had enough, and he fell back. He's morale shocked. Look at these 2 tiny units coming in for a charge. Man, those guys can easily be picked off if I can hit them one at a time. So that's great. The detached skirmisher changed direction. Good to see that. That's good. So yeah, that's great. He's chasing after my cav. That's great. Happy to see that. I want my tired units to get back and recover a little bit, and then we're going to counterattack. So I decided my cav unit couldn't get away, so I had him charge. So yeah, the 1 infantry unit is just buying time. In this series, I'm going to have the allied units fight. The allied units are going to, and that's what you're going to see, every battle where there are allied units, the allied units are going to go right into the face of the enemy and slug it out toe-to-toe. They're going to fight. And yeah, that's great. For some reason that triggered an enemy charge. I'll take that. And I've combined some units, and I got condition recovered, and now I have 2 artillery and 2 decent-sized infantry units. And his army's been shot to pieces. This is academic. His first unit's dead. Yeah, we're going to kill all these guys. So there's 2 more dead. Now we're going to go just kill the artillery. Okay, we need to get out of the fort, so his ironclads will stop pounding on my poor detached skirmisher. In fact, the detached skirmisher can go home to its parent unit. And his artillery is launching an attack. That is some brave artillery. And we have enough condition, we can go in there and get him and tear him apart. And bonus, he's out of ammo. Yeah, we're going to get these guys. Yep, and there it is. He had 8,000, I had 3,600. 5,000 infantry killed and 400 guns, and lost 2,000 and 158 cav. So the big thing is just got out of it, just got out of the battle. That's all I wanted. And to get out of it with my units and not have any of my officers dead. That was the goal. Wounded was fine. So yeah, that's the first battle, and we got out of it, and that was the goal. And I'll see you in camp.